wanted well, first, before I have an important question to ask you about that, but Reef, I wanted to see if you had any comments or questions for Sasha that might be coming in. We get comments and questions sometimes during people write them in as we're live.
I have some.
Okay.
Let me ask if we do have a question, but I wanted to get to. There was just people sharing that they appreciated Sasha's optimism and energy, so that was very nice.
Yeah, we have people in the chat that are so he's scrolling down the chat. Yeah.
Yeah. A
question. That's because of the anchor, because I feel this Tara's energy.
Does anyone have an opinion on Western media and if it can be reformed in any way, and how that might happen?
Okay, before I ask you that question though, let me set this up in a different way to make it clear, Sasha. In the West, we have a lot of, unfortunately, anti-Russian propaganda, and I don't know how much you know of that, but because you're in Russia and you're not really paying, you're paying attention to Russian media. And I wanted to ask you, have you ever been to the United States, first of all, or to a Western country?
Never in my life, actually, not.
How far away on? How far?
Maybe because of location of my city, my homeland, my Irkutsk city. I told you that I had these Asian countries experiences, and I think my only one touch with something on the West. There was a bus tour that we did with my younger sister. Maybe 8 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago, bus tour which included 7 countries, 7 capitals. There was for 2 weeks, probably, or a week and a half. So there was just several hours in Brussels, several hours in Paris, and so on. So I had only this touristic view, like, wow, it's Eiffel Tower, wow, this is Mannequin Peace, and that's it. So to be honest, my experience is mostly about Asian countries.
There you go. Okay. So, well, what I wanted to ask you, and this question is touching on, is because right now the Western media is very focused on propaganda for the military-industrial complex. Basically, everything is about supporting that narrative of why America and NATO countries need to interfere with certain, other countries. And right now, of course, there's the huge thing happening in Ukraine, but we don't need to get into the politics of that. What I wanted to ask you is about the media. Have you felt that negativity from Western media journalists here in Russia, or have you not really experienced that? Have you not really been touched by that, so to speak?
I think that nowadays it's maybe not only in Russia. I think it's all over the world that especially young people, because I'm working with them, so they don't watch TV at all. Never mind foreign or their own country. But at the same time, they receive this content, but only through other platforms. It can be even news, it can be even something political, but divided into political shows, but divided into parts. And they receive it through Telegram, our very famous, very widespread messenger. They receive it through other platforms, but it's only like that. And it's very, of course, it's not random. Everything that they see, even if they don't realize that, it was picked by someone to show them. And of course, we know that this is something, as we used to say, nowadays, it's not only something that is going on the real battlefield. Actually, it's economical war and information war at the same time. And this kind of media sphere, it's very important. Everything depends on what you receive, on not you pick, but what you surround it with. And what I'm doing, actually, I'm maybe a bit. I'm not like a very good example, because I'm not, I have very specific work now, very specific surroundings. It's all about volunteers. And of course, we see the opposite thing, how something that our volunteers even experienced by themselves, how it was covered by Western media. But we usually receive it as, that funny pictures and these fake news that made very well. Sometimes it's really made very, like it's very high quality, and you need to figure out, stop, let's try to understand who is the author, and let's see all the branches of this news. And for example, on our federal TV, national TV channels, we have even special programs dedicated to this thing, like anti-fake. For example, our first channel of Russia is doing it, especially I think for youth people, and at the same time for middle-aged too, because they watch TV, and they just take these newses and they trying to simply look a bit deeper, as an iceberg. You see only this part, but this is the real thing. And what we're doing now,
yeah,
so I can see it on our main channels, but at the same time, what we're doing now to touch the young audience, we not actually to touch them. We just made this platform that helps different generations of Russian citizens to express their thoughts, their feelings, and sometimes, quite often, with their thoughts, we can make a kind of reply, a kind of the opposite thing for this Western, very high quality made content. And what I mean, it's we have a name, Kiberdružina. In English, I was trying to translate that. It's a cyber squad, like cyber team of people. So we created a kind of apps which you can download to your phone, and you can make your own content. If, for example, you hear some uses, and you can make a joke or make a real thing, like some kind of small article, and send it to us. And our experts, they are checking this. Of course, they need to make some fact checking, and then they can publish it. So, because nowadays we have a lot of middle-aged people who just sit in front of TV. They see what is going on there, even when our media is just talking about the situation on the front line, or all these things that is going on against our country now, and they just don't know how to say it quite loud to be heard by someone else, not only their family in the room. And this platform really helps them to express their feelings. And I think that we only started this year. Only this year, actually it's half a year, it's several months. And I think that now we're trying to make another step. We are trying to collect all this content and send it to the West, actually, because this is something that we really need to do. Why if we can hear their voices, why we sometimes have lack of our people's voices. And I know why. It's blocked on main platforms. It's blocked officially by them. But we still have some ways to reach the people in different countries, because people still being people, and sometimes they just need to hear, to see something with their own eyes, to hear some word that will be touchable for them. And I think that I'm really happy actually to meet here in Russia, these kind of people, foreigners that have a very clear view on things, and through your point of view, through our friends that we have here in Moscow, I really see that it's something that now we need to show other people, because I'm lucky to have these surroundings around me. Not only Russian people who, of course, support our defenders, support people in Donbass and Lugansk and so on, but I also see that, especially nowadays, it's very important to see that you're not alone in these feelings. And I think it's something that we're doing now. It's in the right way. We only started, but it in the right way.
Well, that's exciting. It's a good project, and I kind of wanted to. You touched on something I wanted to ask you about, because in 1991, in the fall of Soviet Union, in the 90s, things were very difficult, and of course that's before your time. You're young, but I'm assuming your parents' time. They saw those tough times right after the fall of the Soviet Union, and how it was really kind of preyed upon by Western countries until it got on its feet. And I think that President Vladimir Putin did a lot to build the middle class. Now, in the West, I had said this, Sasha, publicly, that I thought he did a lot for his people. And I was saying we need the equivalent in the US. We need a politician that cares about the people, like that wants to build a middle class. And I got in a lot of trouble for saying that in the US. But it was not an emotional comment. It was just an observation that President Putin did a lot of good by caring about the middle class and lifting them up. So you built up your economy, and now, of course, Russia is a major power. And do the young people, do you find, appreciate, because I know your parents and grandparents remember the hard times and probably appreciate it, but do the younger people, do they really get how hard that was, or is it hard to explain to them? Are they because now they have all the things, you have capitalism and all the things that go with that. What are your thoughts on that, as far as reaching the young people?
Actually, every time we talk about 90s, it's very funny for me to hear when people like my age, I'm 31 now, I mean that I was only born, you're right, I was born only a year after. And when people like my age, they are saying, oh, in 90s there was so on, so, and I'm just looking at, you didn't live there. You didn't live at this period. So how can you remember? You were 5 or 4 years old. What? You really have a clear memory maybe since 2000s. So, and that's why I'm gonna say that everything depends on your how you were brought up, and it depends on your family. On your family experiences, and it depends on, do you have this connection with your parents? Do they really gave it to you, some stories, some experiences, or sometimes in some families, of course, it's always this thing like different generations, and sometimes this connection just was lost. But in my case, my mom used to tell me that actually there was, I can say very personally, it's very personal story. My mom and dad, they were, I told you, geologists, and there was quite successful job at this time. And there was like that, you just come into, you working hard, but you receiving some equivalent of the same money, and you don't have to worry about tomorrow, about next day. You know that you have a plan for life. Of course, when it's crashed, actually, one of my parents, my father, he couldn't restructure himself. He couldn't become a businessman or something like this. He was totally crushed. I mean, as someone who is holding a family, my mom became a father, by the way. So I do love my parents, but my mom had really hard time because he had to work for both. he had to take any jobs to just feed us, because I was only born in 1992, and she didn't know what will be in the future. And I should remember that one day she was standing on a line, and she had in her hands only enough money to buy these, baby covers. I don't know how to say it, like
Blankets or
like
diapers?
blankets, blanket or some food, because there was the same or food maybe for a week, something like that. So there was non-comparing things, uncomparing, and yeah. So also everything depends on how strong you are, and how you're ready to change yourself to reach these bright times, actually. Because even at these days, she was sure that everything's gonna be okay. It can't just ruin. Something will be in future. And one day there was funny story when she was standing in a big queue for some food. There was a chicken, actually. There was very small and thin chicken, and she was last in the line. There was only 3 chicken and like 15 people in a queue, but she decided, I won't go away, I will wait till the end, maybe it's my chicken. And then just by chance, one guy forgot his this card that was for food. I don't know, something happened, he refused of this chicken, so she finally got this last thing. And she used to tell it to me as a motivation story. So Sasha, never give up. When something say no, you're not in a line, you're not in a list, just wait till the end, find options. And of course, nowadays when my mom can compare, the main thing, what she always was telling me, that you just need to find yourself, you just need to be happy. And really, it's like very big thing nowadays that you can think about what you really want to do, not what you have to do to earn money. It's important because, and also I can pick what I can choose what I want to study, and we have a lot of free opportunities. I mean, for with no payments, you can. My education was free.
All the way through college, it was free. University?
My college, my university, yeah. Of course, there was some things that at the university we usually have this thing like rating. If you passed your exams quite well marks. I wasn't excellent, I can tell you that, definitely not like excellent everywhere, but at the same time I was in this list. And there was, of course, in every university we have this creative contest, like for your creativity, for this part that concerning your profession. And other thing, it's about your marks, about your exams. And you have a chance, even if you have not excellent marks, you can reach this point with your talent. And we have a lot of things for talented youth at the same time. A lot of forum companies where you can, actually you can have money for your projects in different spheres. I know about media because it's my sphere. So you can run your TV show, your radio show. If you really want it, you write a project, you then have some pitching, and you can have your money, your honest money, to your honest deal. So this, I used to live in this, but sometimes when like elder generation, they can say that, oh, you know, Sasha, it's amazing you had this. I always surprised. I said, I think it's normal. Isn't it?